love meat pies. I love sausage rolls. I love fish rolls. I love tarts. I love quiches. Yes, I love pastry. But I believe that a pastry is only as good as the pastry dough. I love short crust, but I've had some really awful ones. So let us create my perfect all the time winning short crust pastry. So let us go over the ingredients that we will be using. First, we've got our flour here. In there, I have measured 400 grams of plain flour. I prefer to use plain flour for my pastries because I can control the amount of raisin agent that goes in there. If you use self-raising flour, it's got a bit more. It's got about 2.5 teaspoons in every 225 grams, so that's 8 ounces. But with my pastry, I prefer to have less of a rise, so I use about a teaspoon. So that's about half of what you'd have in self-raising flour. So we have plain flour. We also have butter, unsalted butter. I always use unsalted butter because, again, I can control how much salt goes in there. But if you have salted butter, it doesn't really matter. You can use that as well. But it's essential to use butter, i.e. real butter, and not margarine. That's one of the secrets to good pastry. The other, and this is the gem, this is a hidden gem, is lard. As you would know, or maybe not, lard is pork fat, and this is what makes this pastry winning pastry. It takes your pastry with just butter from good to excellent. It's lard that gives it that very short and melt in your mouth crust. So there you have it. Use lard if you can, unless of course you don't eat any pork related things. Into that I will be grating just a wee bit of nutmeg, and what this serves to do is just give it a bit of added flavor. And you can use this for all your pastries, so your meat pies, your sausage rolls, your tarts, your quiches. If you're doing a fruit tart even, or a fruit pie, it works just as well. It really is a hint of nutmeg. You shouldn't taste it. If you taste it, you put just a little bit too much. I'll also be putting in a pinch of salt just for added flavor, a teaspoon of sugar. Again, you shouldn't taste the sugar. It just gives it that little bit of flavor. Another secret in here is lemon. Lemon I'll be adding to this cold water. Always use cold water, very cold water. This has just come out of the freezer actually, which is why I've got a little bit of a drip going there. So that's just come out of the freezer. As I say, for pastry, very cold water, very cold hands. My hands aren't very cold, but they will be cold by the time we start to mix, because I'm going to run them through the tap to ensure they get colder. So into that water will be going this lemon. We just squeeze it right in. And what the lemon serves to do is to relax the gluten more. As you know, with pastry, you have to relax the gluten, which means you need to chill it for a while. No matter how much of in a hurry you are to get your pastries going, you must put it in the fridge, even if it's only for 15 minutes. Of course, the longer the better. This I'm going to make right now, and I won't be using for a few days still, but it's just to make sure that it is the best pastry. So we've got the lemon in the water, which we're going to be using later. And that is pretty much it for everything that's going to be going in there. So let us get started. I always sift my flour. I know some people only do this when they're making cakes, but force of habit, I just do it anyway. And because sometimes you find strange things in there. Now I'm going to add the baking powder so that it can go in together. 400 grams, as I said, I am going to add just a bit under 2 teaspoons. There you And now that we have finished sifting that, let us add in the fat. As we've got 400 grams of flour, I have weighed out 200 grams of fat. So that is an equal amount of butter and an equal amount of lard, 100 grams of each, so that's 200. As I said, the ratio is 2 to 1. What I'm going to do now is cut that into cubes and cut it into the flour. Try to make sure that they're not too big, because it will make it a bit more difficult to rub in. Again, one thing I should mention is try and ensure that everything is quite cold. Into that, I'm now going to add half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, bit of a heaped one. And a teaspoon of sugar. As I said before, it's all for flavor. None of these should be a pervading taste, i.e. you shouldn't really taste it that much. It's just to give it added flavor. And I'm also going to grate in some nutmeg. This one is going to be a bit of a chalk on the board noise, so this is the bit where you need to cover your ears if you hate those sounds. I do, but must needs. Again, it's just a hint of it. And that's what it looks like. That's how much is in. And now for the rubbing. So in with your hands, cold hands, and we're just gonna go in and rub all that fat into the flour. This is the bit where I start to sing my rub song. Rub, rub, rub away. This process takes about 5 minutes. So I'm just going to speed things along to the end. But once you are done rubbing, what you should have is something that looks like fine breadcrumbs. So let's rub away. What you're doing here is lifting the flour and just rubbing in the fat. No heavy-handedness. You're not washing clothes. You don't want stiff dough. You want dough that is as light as is possible, so that when you come to make your baked goods, it just literally melts in the mouth. Not that it becomes chewy. It's not meant to be chewy. It's meant to be short crust. A lovely short. Do put your hands in right to the bottom to ensure that you've got every little bit, and then lift, because you might find that you have some little bits that just go on hiding. You know, there's always one. That elusive one. But yeah, just put your hands in and lift. Put your hands in and lift. Everything should be coated. So you shouldn't have anything that looks white like flour. It should have all turned some kind of cream, what with having come into contact with the fat. As you can see, it started to look like breadcrumbs. And we just keep on doing that. This takes all of all of about 5 to 8 minutes. And here we have it. Our dough has come together and looking like breadcrumbs. So at this point in time, we start to add the liquid so that it can bind. Add it slowly as you don't want a flood. Add it slowly and bring it together. And we have a clean bowl. A clean bowl is sort of like a success sign. And there you have it. One lovely ball of my winning dough. And I'm just going to put that away in the fridge till it's ready to use. There it is. Let me know how you do when you try it. Oh, wow. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. While you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. And of course, do interact in the comment section. I want to see you there. I want your comments. I want to chat with you. And of course, do like the video. And come back to testify once you've tried out the recipe. See you in the next one. Ta-da!